Get ready to hear the truth about America on a show that's not immune to the facts with your host, Dan Bongino.
So another whistleblower, dreaded air quotes, appears to have emerged. You know, as I said on Fox and Friends this morning, it's interesting to have a whistleblower about things we already know. What are you blowing the whistle on? It's like blowing the whistle on the results of the Nationals-Dodgers game last night. We already know what happened. There's no whistle to blow. All right, folks, welcome to the Dan Bongino Show. Welcome back to my good friend and ally, Joe Armacost. Joe, I want you to take a moment and tell everyone, we got a ton of questions at the book signing, which, by the way, was packed in the Villages. I know, Paula, you have a photo. Thank you to everyone who showed up. People love you there, Joe. People were very nice to Paula. We had 800 people show up. God bless you. There's a little photo of it. Yeah, it was good. We have the Ask Joey Bag of Donuts guy in the front. But, Joe, they were very concerned about you, and I was not, of course, last week very open about where you were because I wanted you to show this picture of this handsome young man and tell everybody what you were doing. Yes.
Well, Dan and audience, thank you so much for hanging in there with me. I went to Paris Island to see my son graduate. He is now one of our country's newest United States Marines. There he is.
Look at that guy. Damn right. Look at that guy. God bless you, little Joe. He ain't little Joe anymore. He's a United States Marine. One of the baddest on the planet. And he did something that few people can do. Graduated the toughest school in the entire world. Marine boot camp.
Amen,
God bless you, little Joe. Joe, congratulations. I know you're so proud of him.
You, man.
I feel honored to have known him. And he's just not little Joe anymore, you know, buddy?
No. Remember when he wanted to spar with you all the time? He was that little boy.
Dude.
He would come down the basement.
He's always been a warrior, man. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But that picture, God bless you, man. It's good to have you back. And I want you to know, Joe, even though despite he had to travel down south for this great moment with Joe, with his son, he still worked. It's not that, because Joe, he just couldn't, because of the ceremony timing. So thanks, Joe. I'm very proud of you. I know the audience is too.
Thanks, guys.
He's at Joe Haas1 on Twitter, by the way, if you want to reach out to Joe.
And I will start tweeting again, by the way. There we go.
Man. All right. Well, good. I'm happy to have you back, buddy. So, all right, let's get to it.
Thanks,
Today's show brought to you by our buddies at Teeter. Teeter. I used Teeter this morning. What is Teeter? It's the best inversion table on the market. I need the Teeter inversion table because I've had problems with my shoulders, my back. As you know, I have pretty severe arthritis. I complain about it on the show all the time. I can't say enough, though, about the Teeter inversion table, right? With a Teeter inversion table, use gravity, decompress and elongate that compressed spine. Let that spine relax a little bit. It feels so good. Relieves pressure on your discs, your surrounding nerves. It relieves pressures on my shoulders, all my joints, my hips. I feel so good when I get off it. I use it twice a day, not just once. Decompressing on a Teeter inversion table for a few minutes a day is a great addition to anybody's daily routine to maintain a healthy spine and active lifestyle without the pain. If you have back pain, if you've been lucky enough to avoid back pain, get the Teeter Invert every day. Keep your back, your joints feeling great. I feel like a new man when I get off it. I love it. Some products I use regularly, some I can't. This I use twice a day. I love it. For a limited time, you can get Teeters, that's T-E-E-T-E-R, their brand new 2019 upgraded model of the inversion table, the Teeter Fit Spine with bonus accessories, Stretch Max handles, and an easy reach ankle system, plus a free inversion program mat with 24 illustrated stretches and exercises for you. Teeter inversion tables have thousands of reviews on Amazon. They're rated 4.6 stars. With this deal, you get $150 off when you go to teeter.com/Dan. You'll get free shipping, free returns, a 60-day money-back guarantee. You won't need it, but there's absolutely no risk for you to try it out. Remember, you can only get the new 2019 Teeter Fit Spine inversion table, plus a free inversion program app by going to teeter.com/Dan. That's teeter.com/Dan. All right, Joe, let's go, buddy. Nice to have the bell back. I've been doing my own bell, which is really hard. So, a supposed second whistleblower. Joe, this is fun. A whistle. They're going to blow the whistle. Joe, get a load of this. They're going to blow the whistle on what happened on the call between President Trump and the new Ukrainian president. They're going to blow the whistle, Joe.
Oh, well, blow the whistle, Dan. Here we go. Yeah.
Now,
we need a whistle.
We do. As Mark Levin stated, this Daily Caller piece, they covered the great Mark Levin. They don't call him the great one for nothing. And also I stated on Fox and Friends this weekend, which I want to play in a minute. I want to clear a few things up about that, by the way. From the Daily Caller piece, the great one, Mark Levin, blow the whistle on what? We already have the transcript of the phone call. Folks, is this hard? I'm not... I know my audience is very bright, so please don't take this the wrong way. I'm talking to the liberals who tune in or are listening in the background as the sane people are playing this podcast, and they're going, this is crazy. We should take this seriously, the second whistleblower. Yeah, we should, but take him seriously about what? Him or her? We already have a readout of the phone call. We've seen it. We've read it. They're like, well, Joe, here's the second whistleblower, Joe, has first-hand information. Oh, Joe, that clears it up. First-hand. Joe, you know who else has first-hand information of what happened on the call?
Do tell.
The whole world, because we've already read the call.
What is this? Dude.
Listen, major blow up this weekend on Fox and Friends weekend. So I was on with Griff Jenkins. I want to clear a few things up. Let me play the clip first, but I know Joe saw it. My wife saw it. This thing went nuclear this weekend. Griff Jenkins was on guest hosting Fox and Friends weekend. I was a guest for my regular appearance, which I do. And he kind of hinted at this, and here's how I responded. I'll clear some stuff up afterwards.
We believe, Dan, that the next whistleblower, according to the New York Times article, would simply reinforce the premise that the Trump administration was trying to leverage in some way the military aid for, in exchange, investigation to be reopened into Burisma and the Bidens.
Griff, come on. You're not really falling. You're not seriously falling for this, are you? We read the transcript. Mm-hmm. We saw what happened. You have the guy, Gordon Sondland, in a text message saying he spoke with the president, who was literally in a meeting the next day with the Ukrainians, saying there's no quid pro quo. Here's what's going on here. Here's what they're covering. You see this article? Ukrainians' effort to sabotage Trump. Here's what they're covering. You want to see what else they're covering? Let me show you some more. You Australian diplomats sabotaging Trump. You want to see some more? British intelligence passing information on Trump to the Obama administration. You want to see some more? Christopher Steele identifying Russian sources. That's what they're hiding with these ridiculous reports.
Listen, he goes. You know I have a general rule. I really hate doing clips of myself because I can just say it was me. I was there. Joe, who has a first-hand account of Dan Bongino's appearance on Fox? Me. I was there. That would be me. I'm bringing this up for a couple of reasons. One, to reiterate a couple of points. What whistleblow on what? We already read the call. It's done. Period. Let's move on. Secondly, they are hiding things here. The reason these whistleblowers keep emerging, and they're not whistleblowers, they're deep state operatives looking to take out Trump, is because they are hiding what I already showed. These articles, which Paula was kind enough to print up for me. British intelligence, Australian diplomats, Russian sources, Ukrainian politicians feeding information to the Obama administration to sabotage Trump. They're hiding. It's just a simple distraction. The Obama administration and other Democrats looking to hide what they did are blaming Trump for what they did. It's no more difficult than that. Now, one quick thing, if you'll allow me a moment of to discuss a little behind the scenes. I got a lot of emails about this clip this weekend. Folks, please, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, don't get mad at Griff. Listen, Griff is a friend. But me and Griff, I need you to understand, we have totally different jobs. And this is not me, again, virtue signaling, jumping to the defense of Fox or anything like that. They don't need me to do that. They don't ask me to do that. Griff is a good guy, but we have different jobs. Griff is a news guy. He's not an opinion guy. He's on the news. Griff's job is to literally ask probing questions, which I enjoy. Now, I get frustrated about it, and I give a fierce opinion back, as you can tell. But remember, folks, Griff has done this for both sides. Griff's the guy who was down at our southern border who got the guy on tape to admit he was entering the country and what did he just get out of a legal proceeding for a homicide or a murder? He's done this to both sides. Yeah. I'm serious. A lot of people were mad at Griff. Don't. He does not. That's not his job. His job is not to be an opinion guy. His job is to ask questions of guys like me. And note it, he doesn't like come back and say, oh, you're crazy, you're a lunatic. Nothing. He asks a probing question, which I enjoy. I'm telling you, I enjoy it. I'm frustrated, but he gets paid to kind of probe both sides. That's his job. I just don't want anybody to be upset at Griff. Griff and I are friends. We're actually good friends. And I don't mind it at all. That's my job, is to fire bombs back. That's the way this works. So I mean it. I'm not like trying to, he doesn't need me to defend him, Griff, but Griff's a friend of mine. And when he says something I disagree with, that's a media talking point. You know, it's his job to probe and ask both sides. I'm more than happy to drop a bomb back, but don't think like behind the scenes Griff was poking me, or that's not the way any of this works. So I just want to clear that up in addition to playing the clip so you understand the Ukrainian thing is a hoax. A second whistle, it doesn't matter. There's nothing to blow the whistle on. You can read this stuff yourself. You have the firsthand information. The transcript is out. Oh my gosh, this is the most frustrating story. I've got a ton on this, by the way. Please don't go anywhere. Impeachment stuff, they shockingly issued a subpoena on Friday night, right after we did the show about no subpoenas, but I'll tell you what's going on there. And they nailed Schiff again on 2 big lies, so don't go anywhere. There's a lot of content ahead. But again, showing you, piling on how this whole thing, this move towards impeachment over this nonsense lie that the president was seeking political dirt with Ukraine to help his campaign in exchange for military aid. It's a lie. It's made up. Here's another piece this weekend. So Undercover Huber, at John W. Huber on Twitter, always does great work. I can't recommend it enough. I just want to put out the conspiracy theory here. And I'm really upset, by the way, at Jess Tarloff at Fox, who's been doing this and saying things, and she's just, whereas I give you both sides, she refuses to tell you things that are critical here. The latest Democrat conspiracy theory on this is that Kurt Volker, who was the U.S. Special Envoy to Ukraine, follow me, Joe, that he was one of the key figures in this Trump deal, quid pro quo, where you either give me information on Biden or we're not giving you this weapons aid. Copy? Volker was supposed to be the middleman. The Democrats call him up thinking, they got him now, Joe. We got Volker up here. He's going to go on the record and say, Trump made this illicit deal. Well, what happens? Volker shows up and smashes this whole thing to smithereens. Here is an excerpt, hat tip again at John W. Huber on Twitter. Great account. Sir, he did all the red lines around this. Listen to this one. He's talking about this alleged deal, about the Ukraine position on Biden and then exchange of weapons and military aid. Volker, as I was confident the position would not stand, I did not discuss the hold, they're talking about the hold on military aid, with my Ukrainian counterparts until the matter became public in late August. Oh my gosh, folks, I can't take it anymore. Again, Jess, I work with her there, and she's never been personally rude to me or anything like that, but I'd really appreciate if you would disclose the full spectrum of information before you leverage opinions based on a selective interpretation of the facts as you see them. So Volker's your guy, the guy who's claiming there was a holdup of military aid contingent on Trump getting information from Biden from Ukraine, and yet Volker, in sworn testimony, Joe, admits he didn't even bring up the Ukraine stuff until late August. Now, Joe, follow me here as the audience ombudsman. This is not going to be difficult, I promise you, but liberals have a tough time with this. If the call between Trump and the Ukrainian president, where he allegedly said, we're not giving you military aid unless you give us this Biden stuff. If the call, that was not in the transcript, by the way, but again, they leave that part out. But just pretending the Democrats who just magically found this in Trump's head, they have some kind of like Minority Report, Tom Cruise movie mind reading device, right? If you were going to leverage military aid in exchange for information in July, then why would you not bring up the leveraging of the military aid for information until August? July, August, July. August, last time I checked, is after July. I'm not crazy, right, Joe? I know you're the ombudsman.
No, it's magically ridiculous.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is crazy talk.
It's stupid.
They didn't even bring the military aid hold up until August. What kind of extortion attempt is that? Now, Volker's their ace in the hole. Unfortunately, he's not an ace in their hole. He's an ace in the other hole on the other side. He completely dismantled their whole narrative. Sean Davis at The Federalist, who does excellent work, has a terrific piece. It'll be up in the show notes. I encourage you to read it, talking about this whole thing. Sean Davis, headline, testimony from Ukraine envoy Kurt Volker directly contradicts the Democrats' impeachment narrative. Again, Trump wouldn't give military aid unless the Ukrainians gave him information on Biden. The military aid wasn't even mentioned until nearly a month later, and it was totally unrelated to Biden. From the Sean Davis piece, such knuckleheads. I can't get over this stuff. Not Sean Davis, the Democrats. Here, this is Volker again. Quote, as you will see from the extensive text messages I am providing, again, Volker, which convey a sense of real-time dialogue with several different actors. Vice President Biden was never a topic of conversation, he said. Goes on. Volker testified that he never even mentioned the delay on U.S. military assistance to Ukrainian officials until late August, when news reports indicated that the funding had been put on hold. Volker's statement directly undercuts the claim that the funding was part of a quid pro quo meant to force the Ukrainians to take certain actions in order for the military aid to be released. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what more you need to see here to show you this is a hoax, what they're hiding. It's a hoax. It's a hoax. There is no quid pro quo, something for something deal if the something for something was never mentioned as anything. Military aid for information. You think you want to mention the military aid first? The call where the alleged something for something was made in July, but the something wasn't mentioned to August. Oh my gosh, you're losing IQ points. This is the stupidity we have to deal with on the left. And it just says, well, you know, there's a text message from Bill Taylor who's concerned it's a quid pro quo. Okay, wow, that sounds damaging. It does. Until you read the response, which she left out to the text messages from Gordon Sondland, the ambassador, U.S. ambassador to the EU, who was in the meeting the day after the phone call, who unequivocally states their president has been crystal clear. There is no quid pro quo. Kind of a little, important detail to leave out, no?
Yeah.
Joe, it's mind-boggling, the nonsense we have to deal with here. There was no deal for military aid, folks. The military aid wasn't even mentioned until a month after the phone call they said the deal was made on. Oh, my gosh. I got a lot of video. Don't believe me. I haven't even gotten to Chuck Todd yet. Chuck Todd, who just disgraced himself.
Oh, man.
And
What a, man, that's a.
Don't go anywhere. All right, we got another sponsor today, folks. Friends at Lending Club. For decades, credit cards have been telling us buy now, pay later with interest. No good. Definitely no good. Despite your best intentions, what happens? Interest gets out of control fast. Here's where our buddies at Lending Club come in. With Lending Club, consolidate your debt. Who's better than you? Or pay off credit cards with one fixed monthly payment. Since 2007, Lending Club has helped millions of people regain control of their finances with affordable, fixed rates. Personal loans. No trips to a bank. No high interest credit cards. Get rid of all that. Just go to lendingclub.com. Tell them about yourself, how much you want to borrow. Pick the terms that are right for you, not someone else. And if you're approved, your loan is automatically deposited in your bank account in as little as a few days. Lending Club is the number one peer-to-peer lending platform with over $35 billion in loans issued. We love Lending Club on the show here. Just go to lendingclub.com/Dan. Check your rate in minutes, borrow up to $40,000. That's lendingclub.com/Dan, lendingclub.com/Dan. All loans made by WebBank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Don't forget to check out the club, lendingclub.com/Dan. Okay, moving on. So Adam Schiff gets nailed again. And again, how does this tie into, so where did we start? This is a hoax. This is a hoax based on a transcript of a phone call the whole world has already seen. The alleged deal made in that transcript, which is not there in that transcript, is that Trump said military aid for Biden information. He didn't say that. It's a total hoax. It's made up. Nobody close to the deal who knows and has read in on it is saying that. The Democrats' witnesses are saying the opposite. And now Schiff is lying about it again, and in conjunction with the second so-called whistleblower, deep state operative. It doesn't matter. We have the transcript. From our good buddy fact checker, Matt Palumbo at Bongino.com. Liberal fact checker, catches Schiff in not one, but two lies. Ladies and gentlemen, this piece will be up at the show notes today.
Really?
Yeah, not one, Joe, but two. So here are the two lies.
Right.
Adam Schiff, who again on Whistleblower 1, deep state operative, he claimed, quote, "We have not spoken directly with the whistleblower." Wrong. Put up the portion of Matt's piece. This is flat out false. As Washington Post Glenn Kessler, if the Washington Post, which is with their liberal activists, their fact checkers are liberal activists too, if they're calling you out, ladies and gentlemen, there's a problem. As Glenn Kessler noted in his September 17th comment, this is flat out false. Schiff says the committee had not spoken to the whistleblower. We now know that's not true. Folks, they're lying. This has been a coordinated, pre-planned hit. What was number two? We might not have even known there was a whistleblower complaint, he said, if not for the ICIG. Folks, this is categorically false. He's making it up. Schiff has no credibility. So again, the something for something in the transcript isn't in the transcript. Then they called Volker up, thinking Volker was going to say, well, behind the scenes there was a deal, even if it wasn't in the call. That's not what he said. He said the opposite. Now Schiff, who has been working with the whistleblower behind the scenes and lying to people about it, no, we didn't know anything about it, is the face of this thing, has now been busted lying about what the whistleblower said about the transcript of the call we can now see. Man. You know how they nailed him, Joe? They nailed him. And listen, I don't think this was a good idea. I want to be clear on that. Okay. Because Trump released the transcript. And again, I don't think this was I think it was a bad idea. Because now, as I predicted last week, they're going to want the transcript of every single call Trump's on from now until he leaves office. It was a dangerous precedent. But there's no question in the short term that the tactical release of the transcript has smoked out all of these fake whistleblowers who now what they said on the phone, which was on the phone call, wasn't there. You get what I'm saying, Joe? Schiff thought Trump wouldn't release the call and that the whistleblower would be able to make allegations and they would be magnified through a compliant, sycophantic press. Oh my gosh, what's in this phone call, Joe, is so devastating. Promises everywhere. Yeah. The national security threat. And then we would have no way to counteract it. It would be he said, she said, right? But that's not the case. It's he said, she said, and what they said isn't true.
Nah. How much more of the Schiff can we take, man?
Not much. The Schiff is overwhelming, buddy. It's overwhelming.
It is. It is.
It's a bag of Schiff.
Schiff's going to hit the fan, man.
As Judge Shadid said on Saturday night. That was I had a blast this weekend on Fox.
It was good.
You know, some hits are better than others. I was very energetic. I'm very passionate about this case now because you realize they're going to impeach the president over a hoax. Yeah. Over a hoax. A total hoax. What happened with Andrew Johnson wasn't a hoax. You may not have liked it, but you know what happened. What happened with Nixon wasn't a hoax. It happened. Well, Nixon wasn't actually impeached. That's it. But there was a move that he was going to be before he resigned. Mm-hmm. What happened with Bill Clinton definitely wasn't a hoax. This is a hoax. This is made up. Now, sensing the frustration. This is comedy gold. Joe gets to cheat because he sees the cuts beforehand. Chuck Todd, full-time liberal activist masquerading as a journalist. This guy is the fakest of fake news. He's a total clown, complete joker. I wasn't a huge fan of Meet the Press ever, but at least Russert attempted to hide some form of a partisan bias. Didn't always work out so well. Chuck Todd doesn't even hide it. Chuck Todd is the Rachel Maddow of Brian Stelter's. He's an embarrassment. A total embarrassment. This clown has been on the wrong side of just about every Trump issue from day one. He promoted the collusion hoax. He never asked a substantive question of a Democrat. Chuck Todd lost his mind, this disgrace to journalism this weekend, in an interview with Ron Johnson. And why? I'm going to play you the video in a second here. There's a reason. I can riff on Chuck Todd all day. Believe me, he provides enough material. Chuck Todd and his Democrat activist friends are terrified about this, as we've showed many times. As Ron Johnson shows in the interview. Politico, Ukrainian efforts to sabotage Trump backfire. It's not a Fox News piece. It's a Politico piece. Written in January of 2017. They are terrified, liberal activists, Chuck Todd included in that bunch, that the effort by key Ukrainians to sabotage Trump's candidacy in conjunction with key Democratic figures like Alexandra Chalupa, Nellie Orr, who was working for Democrats, they're afraid all of this is going to come out. So what do? Just make up a story. Oh, Trump did it instead, not us. Chuck Todd is terrified. Here's the clip. Listen to Ron Johnson, the senator from Wisconsin. When he brings up this fact about the Ukrainian piece, watch Chuck Todd completely freak out and melt down. This is hilarious. This guy pretends to be a journalist. Check this out.
You know, I have my third letter into the Inspector General of the Intelligence Committee asking to just confirm, are you investigating those leaks that Peter Strzok talked about in that text?
Senator, I have no idea.
So again,
why,
no, that's a setup. It is entirely relevant to this point.
Why a Fox News conspiracy propaganda stuff is popping up on here? I have no idea.
It is not.
I have no idea why we're going here.
That is
Senator,
because
I'm
this is
asking
underlying
about,
exactly why President Trump is upset and why his supporters are upset at the news media.
Okay,
Chuck,
this is not about the media.
Senator
Johnson,
Senator Johnson, please.
Listen, if that ain't a double Muttley, I don't know what is. That is a, what a clown. Look at him. He even rises. Listen to all you Marines out there, military personnel, cops, laborers, truckers, you people who work for a living, had fingers dirty. All you, even white collar people who've been street brawlers when you were kids, grew up in the street, worked your way up. Oh, I'm going to leave that because it's not good. Yeah, I'm going to have to cut it out of the show. I don't cut anything. I can't. I can't even say. That was...
Good catch. Yeah.
I'm waiting for him to go, Senator Johnson, please. Senator Johnson, please. Please, Senator Johnson. Please. What was that? Oh my gosh, I'm crying. What was that? I don't know how these Fox News conspiracy... What? The fact that Peter Strzok and Lisa Page were texting you? You missed that? The fact that the Ukrainian efforts to sabotage Trump was covered by a left-leaning outlet, Politico? Did you miss this? That's to put it sideways? Did you miss that, Chuck? What a disgrace. I filleted this lunatic this morning on Fox and Friends. Listen, I'm not kidding when I say... Just please, Chuck, resign in disgrace. Your network promoted the collusion hoax along with you for 2 years. You guys are clowns. You're not serious people. You have lost all credibility. You don't get to determine anymore what a conspiracy theory is. You are the conspiracy theory. You were part of the conspiracy. What a joke. Now, again, they are panicked about this Ukrainian effort to influence. I want to give a hat tip here. Daily Wire and the Blaze TV. Used to be CRTV. It's a Blaze TV now. Daily Wire is a piece by Ryan Savija covering this Blaze TV story. It's in the show notes. I encourage you to read it. Bombshell. Audio email evidence shows DNC colluded with Ukraine to boost Hillary by harming Trump. Report says, Joe, that's not possible. That's a conspiracy theory because liberal activist Chuck Todd said so. And Chuck's a very credible source of information. That's all. Forget everything you just read there. So Beck in the Blaze TV somehow got a hold of some audio. Now, I'm not going to play the whole thing. It's very long. You can watch it on the Blaze TV. But I want to set this up for you. Again, Chuck Todd says, don't worry. This Ukrainian is colluding with the Obama administration, the DNC. Don't worry. It's all a conspiracy theory. Journalism is dead. There is a guy, Artem By the way, this is in my first book, Spygate, and there's a follow-up in my second book, Exonerate, where we cover a lot of this if you're looking for it in book form. None of the information here is new information. I'm not saying that to take a cheap shot at them. However, Beck did a good job. And the audio, I have not seen or heard the audio before. Let me tell you what this is and why this matters, despite what Chuck Todd says. There's a guy, Artem Sitnik. He's Ukrainian. He was head of what's called the Anti-Corruption Bureau. It's believed that Sitnik in Ukraine, he's a Ukrainian, just so we're clear. Follow me here. It is believed he was one of the people involved in the transfer to U.S. law enforcement authorities of what's called the Black Ledger on Manafort. What is that? The Black Ledger is an unverified ledger of alleged cash payments made to Paul Manafort, who, of course, was Trump's campaign manager briefly during the summer of 2016.
Right.
Understand, why does that matter? No one's denying Paul Manafort took payments from Ukraine. Nobody. That's not the question. The Black Ledger documenting these alleged payments matters, Joe, because it alleges they were cash payments. Now, why is that important? Because it would feed into a tax evasion, surreptitious narrative that Manafort was doing something behind the scenes to coordinate with foreigners. You get it? Please tell me that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
That he got payments from Ukraine is not in doubt. So did Obama people, Democrats who were working over there, former Clinton people. There were payments made that no one's alleging illegality. It's not illegal to take money from a foreign government. It's illegal not to declare it in a certain way, but it's not illegal. The Black Ledger that allegedly came from Sitnik, Artem Sitnik, right? That payment is what initiated the investigation into Manafort that he's now sitting in jail on. But folks, what if that Black Ledger showing cash payments is a hoax that was only put out there? In other words, it's not real. It's not if someone wrote, I paid Joe Armacost $12 million. Hey, look at this, I gave you. Joe's like, I did? Where's it? I'd like to see some of it if I did.
Yes,
what if What if the Black Ledger is a hoax? I want you to listen to Beck, who got a hold of audio. Listen to this. When we get back, I'll explain on the other side why this is so significant. I'm not going to play the whole audio of the train because some of it's in Ukrainian, and being it's an audio show first, not just video, you're not going to see the translation. But I'll explain it to you. Check this out.
In April, former Prosecutor General Lysenko, the good guy, remember, that came in after the bad guy was taken out? He decides to give an interview with Ukrainian media. And in that interview, he makes a stunning comment. Quote, I don't know how, but the Americans got an audio recording of Mr., how do you say his name? Sitnik, of his conversation. Now, that's the guy who ran the Anti-Corruption Bureau. He was resting with his family and friends now and discussing how he'd like to help Hillary.
Wait, what?
What?
Now,
Say what?
Again, this is not a back patting exercise. I had gotten wind of this, not the audio. I had not heard the audio, but I had gotten wind of this a long time ago, that there are recordings, not just a recording, showing the extensive involvement of Ukrainians in the 2016 election to assist Hillary and damage Trump. I did not get this. I'm not taking anything away from the people at Beck and Blaze who did. This is tremendous. Now, he goes on, the audio's in Ukraine, or otherwise I would play it. It's in that Daily Wire article. You can check it out, the Blaze TV too. Excellent. What is in the audio? The audio is alleged to be Sitnik himself on the recording talking about how, we sent that Black Ledger over. We were really looking to help Hillary out. Folks, if this audio is authentic, do you understand it is a key Ukrainian involved in supposedly an anti-corruption effort talking about interfering in our election to help Hillary Clinton and damage Donald Trump? What more evidence do you need? I told you. I wrote about this in the book, it was in there 2 years ago in Spygate, and in Exonerate, which we finished 6 months ago. It's all in there. None of this is new. So you may say, if none of this is new, then how did Beck get a hold of it? Because phony, fraud, fake news people like liberal activist Chuck Todd don't care. Folks, it is no more complicated than that. The narrative that Trump colluded with the Ukrainians over military aid, which is categorically false, there is no evidence whatsoever to back that up, is a front to hide the real case, now documented with recordings and sworn statements of significant Ukrainian involvement to damage the Trump campaign in 2016. This is all a front. And people like Chuck Todd, who pretend to be journalists, they just don't care. They only want to spout liberal talking points and anti-Trump propaganda. They will not do any investigative journalism otherwise. Frankly, I'm still puzzled this happened at Politico. I'm not kidding. Politico is a left-wing rag. Why they wrote this, I have no idea. Maybe maybe they thought Joe Biden would be the front runner, and they figured let's air the dirty laundry now, give him some time to respond. I have no idea. Why they did it, I have no idea. But it's been did. What was that movie? Remember Bring It On? That movie, cheerleading. Like, he liked it. Well, yeah, it was funny. Bring It On. Oh, you better bring it. Oh, it's been brought. Oh, it's been brought. It's been brought.
That easy.
Now you're listening to this show. You got this stuff a long time ago. I mean, it's like old news to Joe.
Yeah.
You're listening to Chuck Todd. He still believes it's a conspiracy. He doesn't really believe that. He's a fool. All right, I got a lot more. Got another video, too, showing you how the Democrats say they're just lying. Impeachment. We don't need to take a vote on impeachment. Really? You sure about that? A lot more to get to. All right, final sponsor today, Helix Sleep. Man, I needed them last night. Rough night. Seriously. It's been a long week. My wife and I are getting ready to do some stuff, and not that. Oh gosh, get your mind that again. No, we've got a lot of going on business-wise. It's just been very overwhelming. Yeah. I needed my mattress last night. I slept like a champion. Helix Sleep. Helix Sleep. We have 2 of these in the house. One for my daughter, one for us. Helix Sleep is a quiz. Takes just 2 minutes to complete. Matches your body type and sleep preferences. The perfect mattress for you, not for someone else. Whether you're a side sleeper, hot sleeper, like a plush or a firm bed, with Helix, there's no more confusion and no more compromising. Get a mattress made for you, for your preferences. Helix Sleep is rated #1 by GQ and Wired Magazine. Just go to helixsleep.com/Dan. Take their quick 2-minute sleep quiz. They'll match you to a customized mattress that'll give you the best sleep of your life. You're not going to get a better mattress for this price. You're just not. And for couples, Helix can even split the mattress down the middle, providing individual support needs and feel preferences for either side. They have a 10-year warranty. They're so confident in their product, you'll get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free. You'll be sleeping so much you won't even think about this because there's no way you'll send it back. They'll even pick it up for if you don't love it. But don't worry, you will. We love it here. So does my daughter. Helix is offering up to $125 off all mattress orders for our listeners. That's a nice savings. Get up to $125 off at helixsleep.com/Dan. That's HELIX, helixsleep.com/Dan. That's helixsleep.com/Dan for up to $125 off your mattress order. helixsleep.com/Dan. We appreciate Helix Sleep being here. It really is a terrific mattress. I'd be lost without it. Needed it last night. It's been such a busy weekend. Okay. What are we going to do next? Let's see. Well, we got time. Okay, Wall Street Journal. Folks, the freak out is continuing. It's not just about the Ukrainian efforts to interfere in the election. It's about foreign efforts in general. Again, that's why they keep flipping this on to Trump did it. The real narrative is the Democrats did it. They just replaced Democrats with Trump. The Wall Street Journal had an interesting piece, and then I want to get to this other video at the end, which is good. Barr's request for foreign help prompts backlash in Australia, Italy, and UK. Folks, this is going on. You know, I'm going to take podcast publisher privilege here before I get to some of the screenshots from this piece. Folks, I'm not being hyperbolic or overly dramatic when I tell you that what the Democrats did in 2016, the Obama administration, the Bidens, the Clinton machine, Fusion GPS, what they did in 2016 to interfere in our election in a pure power play to damage Donald Trump and destroy him personally, is one of the most disgusting acts of political subterfuge I've seen in U.S. history. And the ramifications worldwide, I don't want to stoke flames here, but I'm being serious as a warning. The ramifications worldwide are getting very serious, folks. There are foreign leaders who are being put in the middle. There are foreign leaders who were not in charge when a lot of this interference happened. The president of Ukraine now, Joe, was not the president of Ukraine when Ukrainian politicians were involving themselves in the 2016 election. Why am I bringing this up? We're on the verge here of causing a political world war. Not a hot one, a cold political. I'm not kidding. A lot of these politicians now, Joe, understandably are like, hey, I've got my own domestic political concerns here in Australia, in Italy, in the UK. Why am I dealing with this mess these zeros did last time? And now liberals on the other side defending liberals in the United States, liberals in Italy and the UK are like, you better stay out of this or you'll be interfering again. If you're getting confused, you should be. The Democrats intertwined us in a global spying scandal that getting out of is not going to be easy. The Attorney General Barr, trying to unwind this show, is going overseas and saying, listen, I need you all to be honest about what happened. We deserve the truth. And it is having very severe ramifications across the globe because of the Democrats. Now, the Democrats involved, sensing this, are freaking out. Here's takeaway number one. Mark Warner, hack Democrat from Virginia. He pretends to be like Captain Moderate. Total liberal activist. If you're in Virginia voting for this guy, I don't know what you're thinking. Total fraud who was knee-deep in Spygate himself. Mark Warner's freaking out over the whole thing and about Barr. It's going to damage our international relations. What is he doing? It's going to damage our relationship with these Five Eyes partners. What? You guys did this. Mark Warner, Democrat senator who sat on the Senate Intel Committee, was the Democrat senator, Joe, texting back and forth with a lawyer representing a Russian involved in this case and Christopher Steele, who produced the fake dossier. I want Warner up there under oath.
Yeah.
So from the piece here, Warner freaking out. No, Warner's not freaking out. Warner's freaking out. He says, this could put the Five Eyes relationship in jeopardy, Mr. Warner said, using the term to describe the Australians, United Kingdom, New Zealand, and others that we're friendly with. He says if Australia starts to feel their intelligence is being used for American domestic political purposes to smear an opponent of Mr. Trump, then that trust breaks down. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Can you please read this at the Hill? Australian diplomat whose tip prompted FBI Russia probe has ties to Clintons. Can you read, Mark Warner? Trump is smearing his political opponent? What are you talking about? The Australian involvement in this case has been documented. These people had ties to the Clinton empire. And Mark Warner's saying Trump is the one smearing people? Total fraud. Takeaway number two. We're sidestepping the league ad. He says in the Wall Street Journal piece, when prosecutors seek help from outside the U.S. in obtaining evidence for an investigation, it usually goes through the DOJ's Office of International Affairs, or through the FBI league ad stationed at U.S. embassies around the world, whose job is to maintain relationships with foreign counterparts. Folks, let me clear this up. The author of this piece in the Wall Street Journal, as I'm going to show you in a second, is not a friend to the facts. I'm sorry. They're not. I think there's multiple bylines on it. I don't know if it's a left-leaning person. I don't know these people. But they say something, which I'm going to get to in a second, that's so absurd that I'm stunned it slipped past the journal, an editor at the Wall Street Journal. Yes, overseas, the FBI is a position. When I spent time in Russia, oh my gosh, Joe, Mueller's coming soon. I was in Russia. Joe was in Russia too. We have Russian connection. So stupid. With the Secret Service doing investigating. I was there for about a month. I've been there twice, actually. The FBI is a position in these embassies overseas. It's an agent. The position's called a legat. It's short for legal attaché. It's an FBI agent overseas. Everybody loves fancy terms. It's an FBI agent. They're right. On lower level cases, even on high level cases, it's not uncommon for the FBI agent, known as the legat, to make connections with local, whatever, Russian FSB, Australians on the ground, investigators they know, and say, hey, can we get some help? Not uncommon.
Okay.
What's the problem here? The Journal's like, well, you see what the Journal's doing? This is weird, Joe. Bill Barr's going outside the legat and asking for assistance himself. Folks, the FBI agents at the highest levels were involved in the scandal. They were the ones who went over with the legat in London and had the meeting with producers of the dossier before the case was even open. Why would Barr then ask those same people to go back and uncover their own potential malfeasance? Does the Journal miss that? Obviously, Barr senses there's an issue with the chain of command and how to supersede it. That's not unusual. That's sound investigative work. Joe, is any of this confusing?
Not confusing.
The legats were involved in the scam. Finally, showing you again, the authors of this piece, missed key facts. I like the Journal generally, but this is just a bizarre article. Mr. Conti's office said he wasn't, this is the Italians, said he wasn't aware of any anomaly in the behavior of the head of the country's intel service in 2016. Mr. Barr's review is looking at, amongst other things, whether U.S. and foreign intelligence services may have worked to prevent Mr. Trump's election. A theory, wait, hold on. A theory? A theory favored by Mr. Trump for which little evidence has emerged. What are you talking about? A theory? Guys, how many times do we go? Oh, I just said guys. Media matters. I just said guys. There's the show. Cut that out, Joe. It's over. Boycotts everywhere. I just said guys. The speech police said you can't say that. What part of this is a theory? How many times, guys, do we have to do this? Ukrainian efforts to sabotage Trump backfire. Australian diplomat whose tip prompted FBI's Russian probe has ties to Clinton's. Steele identified Russian dossier sources. British intelligence passed Trump associates' communications with Russians on to U.S. counterparts. I don't know how many times I have to do this before people like the authors, these confused pseudo-journalists in the Wall Street Journal, get through their heads that you insisting something's a theory because you don't like it doesn't make it a theory. Joe, the theory of 3 + 3 = 6 is a bizarre one, but it's out there. And I just want to say it's a theory. It's not a theory. It is a tautological statement. 3 + 3 = 6. It's not a theory. This collusion is already documented. It's not a theory favored by Trump. It may be favored by Trump, but it is not a theory. Can you put up that article again? Who? Because I didn't even these bylines. You need to immediately retract this, or risk humiliating yourself over and over again. It's not a theory. What part of this is a theory? Aruna, forgive me for saying your name, Viswanatha, Sadie Gurman, and Giovanni Legarano in Rome. This is not a theory. What part of this? Did you even do basic homework? My gosh, I like the outlet. I use it all the time, and I'm not going to stop. But this is bizarre.
Don't you like the world theory?
I mean, wouldn't you expect a retraction on this or an editor's note tomorrow? We mistakenly called it a theory. It's not a theory. All right. Now, circling back to the beginning of the show, the Democrats' impeachment charge that they're going to run with is going to be quid pro quo. Trump allegedly said, no Ukrainian military aid unless you give us information on Biden. a false statement, made up, a total fabrication. We now know that didn't happen. Now, the Democrats are terrified of this. They're terrified because when Trump released a transcript, their case fell apart. Now, as evidence that they're terrified, this is a clip of Val Demings, who's a very confused congresswoman here from Florida who never seems to have a good grasp. Really, she's awful. Really, she's always confused about just basic facts. Here's her on the weekend show with Chris Wallace on Fox. Chris Wallace asks her a basic question. If you guys and ladies in the House are going to move forward with an impeachment charge to pass over to the Senate for a trial to remove the president from office, shouldn't you take a vote? And she says two misleading things. One, that there's no precedent for that. There is. And secondly, that they don't have to take a vote because of the Constitution. I don't know what Constitution she's reading, but that's not exactly the way it's worded. Check this out.
Your committee, the House, has voted to subpoena documents from the White House. The White House says that it will not release those documents, will not turn them over unless the full House votes to authorize an impeachment inquiry, as was done in the cases of Bill Clinton and Richard Nixon. Why is House Speaker Pelosi refusing to hold a formal impeachment inquiry vote?
Well, Chris, let me say this. I would hope, this has been a painful time this past couple of weeks now. I would hope that the White House would cooperate with Congress and actually acknowledge the oversight that we have a responsibility to do. However, there is no requirement under the Constitution that we have a full House vote. There is no requirement under House rules that we have a full House vote. And there is no precedence that we have a full House vote that really drives what we do.
Wait, Congresswoman, you say there's no precedent. There have only been two times in the history under the rules we now have. Andrew Johnson back in the 1860s was different. In both the Bill Clinton case and the Richard Nixon case, there was a clear precedent. The full House voted and authorized a full impeachment inquiry. So there's a precedent.
Hold on a sec here. What is he doing in the middle of the show? If you're watching on the YouTube, you can probably figure it out. Hold on a sec. Precedent. An earlier event or action that is regarded as an example or guide to be considered in subsequent similar circumstances. Precedent. I feel like I'm at a spelling bee. Is Val Demings confused about what the definition of precedent is? Again, one of the worst Congress people from Florida. She's always confused. She very rarely has a grasp on the facts surrounding her appearances before she actually comes on the air. She says two things that are absurd in this appearance with Chris Wallace. Number one, well, there's no precedent for the full House of Representatives to take a vote on an impeachment charge. It's happened twice, and both times the House has taken a vote on an impeachment charge. Joe, by the definition I just read and did a little Safari search during the show,
yeah,
that would fit the definition of a precedent, would it not?
Yes, that would be a precedent.
Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome, Daniel.
This is not hard, folks. Dictionary.com. It's happened twice, and both times there's been a vote. We would call that a precedent. Demings, always confused, and says, well, it's not in the Constitution, we have to take a vote. Well, she's not inaccurate. It doesn't specifically say a vote must be taken. But let me read the Constitution Demings apparently hasn't read. Article 1, Section 2, Clause 5. The House of Representatives. Not the House of Representative. Listen. The House of Representatives shall have the sole power of impeachment. Oh, well, Dan, it doesn't say vote in there. Ladies and gentlemen, the House of Representatives. Now, for those of you like Val Demings who haven't probably read the Constitution, it doesn't say the Speaker of the House, Joe. It doesn't say the Oversight Committee. It doesn't say the Judicial Committee. It doesn't say Adam Schiff shall have the sole power of impeachment.
No way.
And it doesn't say certainly that Jerry Nadler shall have the sole power of impeachment. And Maxine Waters, shockingly, isn't mentioned in the Constitution either.
It ain't happening. Ain't happening.
Folks, any person with functioning neurons understands that when the Constitution reads the House of Representatives, it means the members. Meaning the least you could get away with is a majority of members taking a vote. That's why it's been done that way in the precedent that Val Demings is confused about. It doesn't say the Speaker of the House gets to impeach the president. My gosh, did she not read the Constitution before she went on the air? Folks, I told you Friday with the subpoenas, they were issuing letters. Finally, they issued a subpoena. You know what they did? They waited for Congress to go home. Elijah Cummings Committee issued a subpoena. Now this thing's going to be litigated. You may say, well, why? You said on Friday they weren't going to issue subpoenas because, they don't want to go through court and they want to speed this thing up. I think, ladies and gentlemen, they're starting to sense a problem here, a real problem. And the problem is in line with what Val Demings' appearance with Chris Wallace was. Now there are people who jumped out before the transcript was released, Joe. We need to impeach the president. All of a sudden, they're changing some of their minds. And I think now some of the members are telling Shifty and Jerry Nadler and Pelosi, you better slow this thing down. So what better way to do it than issue a few subpoenas now and now engage in the opposite strategy and litigate this thing out to death? We'll see what track they take. But they can't have both.
A lot of members. Yeah. A lot of members.
Everywhere. I got that. Folks, one last favor for you. I have a good friend at Fox who has done some outstanding real journalism, unlike fake news, Chuck Todd. He's just released his second book. You all know him. The book is Witch Hunt by our good friend Greg Jarrett, who wrote the Russia hoax. Folks, this book is coming out. You can buy it today. It's out tomorrow. I have gone through most of it. It is a spectacular compendium of start to finish, an encyclopedia of what went on in the biggest hoax and scandal in American history. I highly recommend it. It is an awesome book. It is a very look at that, well done, footnoted, researched, analytical piece of material on the biggest scandal in American history. Please check it out. Witch Hunt by our friend Greg Jarrett, the story of the greatest mass delusion in American political history. I have my copy here. It is spectacular. Please go check it out. I would really appreciate it. Greg would too. It is very, very well done. You will have this case start to finish when you're done. Thanks again for tuning in, folks. This was a really busy show today. There was a lot going on, but we covered everything. We debunked the hoax. We debunked this whole impeachment thing, what they're doing here, and it's important you please share this with your friends so they have a good grasp of what's going on as the political heat in the oven gets hotter moving forward. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe to my YouTube, youtube.com/Bongino, and check us out on audio podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeart, and SoundCloud as well. Thanks a lot, folks. I'll see you tomorrow. All right, today's show is brought to you by our buddies at Brickhouse Nutrition. They make one of the finest nutrition supplements out there. Hey, here it is. Field of Greens. Field of Greens. Now, you'll notice that's empty. Why is that empty? Just like my bottle of Foundation or other great product, I use this. This is the finest fruit and vegetable supplement out there. This is real food, Field of Greens. This is not cheap extract. This is real ground up, healthy fruits and vegetables, the key to a long, great, healthy life. Your cognitive abilities look better, feel better, perform better. Field of Greens, it's your fruit and vegetable insurance. I love it. Use the product twice a day. It tastes great. This is real, healthy, high quality fruits and vegetables. Think of it as your fruit and vegetable insurance for a long and healthy life. Go to brickhousenutrition.com/Dan. Pick up a jar of Field of Greens. This is empty. I need some more because we use it, me and my wife too. Field of Greens, available at brickhousenutrition.com/Dan. That's brickhousenutrition.com/Dan. Pick it up today.
You just heard The Dan Bongino Show. You can also get Dan's podcasts on iTunes or SoundCloud. And follow Dan on Twitter 24/7 @DBongino.